Hello, hello. All right. Got this going today. Happy Thursday, everybody. I am actually really excited it's Thursday. This has been a crazy week and I'm ready to get it over with. And yeah, it's a sunny, pretty Thursday and I'm enjoying my office is right by a really big window. I have a huge window in here, so it's really nice to enjoy a little bit of sunshine as it's coming out. So, I have dealt with all of the technical issues today, all of them. They've all came up. I don't know why, and I'm kind of over it. So after this, I may be like opening a drink so that I can just let all of those technical issues float away. Even I like to remind people that even us crazy techie people and web designers still run into technical issues and get frustrated by technology from time to time. So don't think that you're alone in the fact that you get really frustrated by technology, especially with updates. I don't know why, like WordPress decided to go through a major update and iOS decided to go through, like everybody is going through major updates all at the same time. And for those of us who deal in technology on a regular basis, it's kind of hard sometimes, and I could use a drink today. It's a little bit crazy. So give me a hi if you're on live with me. And so we can chat a little bit while we're warming up. And if you know me by now, you know that this is my least favorite part of live because before I get into training and I'm waiting on people to join me, I think it really just kind of feels like I'm talking to myself. Not that I'm bad at talking to myself, but usually there's like a dog in the room or something. So yes, Jessica, I do need to go get myself a glass of wine. It has just been one kind of thing after another. I'm over it, but at least this live is working. Yay! How are you doing today, girl? I'm so excited to see you on here. I hope you're doing well. I yeah, it has been just one of those weeks. I'm going to be excited to wrap it up. I made peace with the fact that I'm probably not going to accomplish all the things on my to-do list. It's just not going to happen. I've made peace with it. I don't have a crazy deadline that I'm missing, which I don't miss deadlines. I would stay up until 3 a.m. to get it done. But so I don't have anything crazy that I'm missing, but I made this big audacious to-do list and thought I can get all this stuff done. And today I looked at it and was like, no, that's not going to happen. I made peace with it to know that that is just not going to, it's not going to pan out that way. So yes, Jessica, I'm sure it is a crazy life. Virtual school, in-person school, I don't know what's happening with all the moms. I feel like everyone I talk to is doing something different with their kids. It's super hard to keep up. So I hope I'm sending good vibes your way that all the schooling is going well. Hey, Abby, good to see you on here with us too. Yeah, it's been a little crazy. So I was excited that today I woke up and it was October 1st. I was excited for a couple of reasons. One, Smart Hours is over. So for those of you who have OG&E, we like to save money. You know, we're pretty frugal people, and we thought, yeah, let's save money on our electric bill. But then we're both working from home. We're trying to not do like laundry and dishes between the hours of 2 and 7 p.m. It gets super hot in our house during those hours. So it has been really fun to work from home and deal with smart hours at the same time. But I'm going to hope yesterday was the last day. So today I'm going to really hope that it was all worth it and that all the craziness of doing late night laundry and early morning laundry is worth it. But today I walked out of my bedroom and was like, woohoo, it's October 1st. I can do the laundry and the dishes whenever I want to now. And it's a pretty freeing feeling. Yes, you're with me. Smart hours is crazy. I love the little cry emoji, like, no, it's craziness. Especially with huskies, we keep them cool. We make sure it doesn't get too hot in here ever. But I did definitely catch Kaya in the bathtub a couple times because that porcelain, I'm sure, felt really good and cool for her. So yeah, I was also excited that it's October because I have some really fun projects coming up. I don't know if you guys are like this, but when all the kind of new projects hit and all the exciting stuff comes around, it's just really easy to get kind of reinvigorated a little bit by what you're doing. So I've talked to some really cool people in the last couple weeks, signed some contracts for some new projects to get going. And man, I'm pumped about them. I love fall. Fall is my season. And I feel like that just kind of solidified that, yeah, this fall is going to be really great. I bought pumpkins, I decorated, I trying to figure out what to do with my plants. Like fall's my season for sure. I love it. Maybe it's because I'm a September baby, but I love my fall. So yeah, that's all the small talk I wrote down. You guys, I hate doing small talk so much that I literally write down small talk and things that I can talk about before I get into the nitty gritty because I don't want people to miss it if they want to join me live. So that's the nerdiness that's happening over here. I'm really excited that we have several people on, and I'm going to kind of dive into a recap of what we've been doing in the challenge. So if you haven't joined us yet, no worries. All of the videos are in the group. You can go back and watch them at any time. I am super realistic to the fact that people have lives and things to do. And sometimes, even when you sign up to be a part of something, it's like, whoa, all the things happened, or the dog got sick, or the kids, whatever. And even business things. I was almost late joining this because I was trying to get something done and I was like, oh crap. So I fully understand that you're not always going to make it onto the live, and that is no problem at all, ever. You can catch the replays in the group. No worries. But if you're joining me today and you haven't joined for the rest of the challenge, I just wanted to kind of recap for you a little bit about what we've been doing. So we have been using a Google Sheets template that I made for you guys. And we've been working on filling it out. But what I did in the template is I made a key and I put my notes in each of those pieces of the template so that you can kind of know what you're supposed to fill in there. But in the videos, we're kind of going through each of those columns and what goes in each of them. So it's been fun. It's been a challenge for me to really just talk about a few things in a video instead of going crazy and training on all kinds of stuff. So it's been really fun so far. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and pop that template into the comments here. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, it's in the comments now. You can go ahead and download it, add it to your Google Drive, or download it as an Excel document. And this will kind of give you an idea of the different pieces of the puzzle that I typically put into content planning. Now, I know so many people that say, I'm just not a planner. I really hate planning. I addressed this in a big way in our first video, but I do want to remind you that my belief is that if you have a solid plan to follow, that the creation part, the creative mindset part becomes a little bit easier and a little bit less stressful. I don't think that our minds are meant to do planning and thinking into the future, plus creative, plus implementation and dealing with technology all at the same time. I feel like that overwhelms our brains a little bit and it makes it really hard to actually produce something. So we get stuck a lot and we get this feeling of overwhelm. Whereas if you could nail this planning process for whatever it ends up looking like for you, I hope and I know what it will do for you is actually open up your mind to being able to create awesome content and take away a little bit of stress. If you can nail the planning part, if you can get through the planning part, then we're not saying, oh man, I got to show up on social media today. I really haven't sent out an email in 6 months. What am I supposed to do? You're instead saying, all I need to do is pull up my spreadsheet or pull up my project management, whatever system you're using. And there you go. You have a plan to follow and an easy to-do list to knock out. So that's my thought in putting together this challenge for you, is really encouraging people to plan first and create second. So yeah, you have the template. So by now, if you have been following me the whole time, you'll kind of start to see your template being filled in. You should start to really see a document at this point with some information in it that is manageable, is easy to follow. There may be pieces of what we went over that you're saying, you know what, that just doesn't work for me. That just didn't resonate with me. You know what, that is fine. Take the pieces that work for you and just throw the rest out for now. I want this to be something that you can handle. That's the whole point. So what I'm doing is showing you all the pieces of the puzzle that I like to use for my clients, but you get to create your own puzzle at the end of the day for what specifically works for you. So far we've talked about picking a frequency, right? How often are you going to send out an email? How often are you going to post a blog on your website? How often, what is your goal that you're going to show up on social media, right? Maybe you don't post at all right now and you're saying, oh, I just need to figure this out. I need to get going. As much as I encourage posting every day, and I follow several experts that encourage posting multiple times a day, I firmly believe that you'll never get there if you can't start in a manageable place first. So if you need to start with planning out 2 or 3 posts per week so that you can get a rhythm going, so that you can get that under your belt, and then you level up, right? And then you go to more posts per week, and then you level up again, and you do it all over again to where you're adding on top of an already manageable system. That is the goal with the frequency. The other thing with frequency is that instead of going, oh man, I have the whole month of October's posts to create. Really, in reality, if you're only creating 3 posts per week planned, now you may throw in some in the moment content when it pops up. But if you're planning for that, really, that's usually about 12 posts per month. Isn't it so much more easier to swallow to think about 12 posts and that you have to write 12 versus that you have to write 30 days worth of content or a whole month's worth of content? I send out emails every Sunday. So that would be 4 emails per month. That's so much more manageable than saying, oh, I got to get all my emails done for the month of October. We're kind of tricking ourselves a little bit here, but what we're doing is, if you're really big into how you talk to yourself, even that negative self-talk that they talk a lot about in personal development, this goes right into it in my mind. Because if you're overwhelming yourself with thinking this is a lot to do, then a plan will show you that maybe it's not quite as much as you thought. So then we talked about picking our post type, either a serve or a sell. The going rate right now is about 3 to 5 serve posts for every sell, or 3 serve emails for every sell email. So you want to be giving good content so that you can build a virtual trust with these potential customers. And then when they're ready to hit that buy button, you're showing up and saying, here's how easy it is. Just click this, book an appointment, schedule your session, whatever the case is for your business, but you're making it really easy for them to do. So we picked an internal goal because marketing sometimes is hard to measure. So by having that internal goal, you're actually saying, no, I did work towards this thing. It could be selling more of a specific product or a service, or even gathering more email addresses, growing your Facebook group, that you are posting and that you are putting out content that gears itself towards that specific goal. Very important. Then on Tuesday, we brainstormed topics and we talked about some notes for those topics so that when you go back to write, it's a little bit easier just to stay in creative mode and not think through what the heck did I mean when I wrote that down, right? Those little bitty notes really help at the end of the day to make it a little bit easier. So if you missed it, scroll back in the group because I posted a link to a freebie of 100 social media post topics. And you can I call them social media post topics, but honestly, I've turned these into blogs. I've turned these into email newsletters. You can do almost anything with them. It's really about getting the creative juices flowing to say, here's a topic that I can talk about, right? Okay, so then on Wednesday, we talked about a writing style, and there's several writing styles in the group in the template for you to choose from, such as, is this maybe a why or a how? Is this a long form? Is this a story that I'm telling? Or is this something that's short and sweet? Maybe it's not writing at all. Maybe it's a video, right? So that makes it a bit easier too. We talked about a call to action should go with almost every piece of content you put out, right? We want to direct people and say, here's what you should do next. Everyone, your potential followers are asking to be led through a journey. They're looking to you to be the leader in this situation. So if you're never asking for the sale, if you're never asking for the email address, it's likely that you're never going to get it. So we talked about a category. Is there a specific category that these posts or these blog posts or these emails fall into? Maybe it's a specific audience that you're trying to reach. So that gives you a little bit of a recap of what we've done up to this point. It is completely normal to feel overwhelmed right now. If you're looking at this and you're like, this is overwhelming, it's kind of meant to be, because my goal here is to show you that planning is possible and give you all those pieces of the puzzle that you could do. But as I'll remind you one more time, use what works for you and leave the rest. If all you can do in planning right now is pick dates and topics, go for that. Layer on top of it next month with something else that feels a little bit more manageable. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to talk about how to actually use this template as a tracker, because I also feel like it's really important to not lose sight of the fact that when you sit down to do the planning, maybe you're having a really rock star day, right? Maybe you're just saying, I am on top of it. I'm getting all the things done. I planned out my whole month's worth of content, and then life happens, right? And you kind of lose track of where you're at. So by using this template as a tracker, you can actually keep track of what you've posted. Maybe if you scrapped it and you decided to go in a different direction, even if you assigned it to someone like a virtual assistant or a team member to help you out with. Sometimes when I need to make a funny post, I'll assign it over to my husband, Steven, because he is hilarious and he'll help me out with that content. So even if you don't have a team, shoot, you can ask a friend to help. You could ask your mom to help. There's a lot of different options there. But by using this template as a tracker, you're able to keep track of it instead of just really flying by the seat of your pants, right? That's not what we want to do. So I'm going to go ahead here and share my screen with you and show you what those tracking features in the Google Sheets file looks like. Okay, so now we have the screen up, and these are all the different things that we've talked about already, but you'll see here that there is a status at the end. So in this status area, this is where you can use it as a tracker to keep track of the work that you've done so far, to kind of keep yourself in that creative headspace. So here's some things that I put down for you to choose from. Let's move those up there. Okay, so it could be in the brainstorming stage. If it's in the brainstorming stage, this is an idea that you wrote down, but maybe you need to do some more thinking on it. How exactly are you going to approach this? Usually, whenever you first plan out your topic and your date and your notes, everything is in the brainstorming stage, right? Now, the second status here is first draft. There are some of you who are going to, knock out a piece of social media content, write a blog, write an email, and never have anyone else proof it for you. But I'm certainly not one of them. Sometimes I mix up random words. There are a few words like restaurant that I can just not spell for the life of me. It is really hard for me to spell that word. So I like to have a draft stage where I know that this is my first draft. Now, sometimes I'm going back to reproof it myself. So it stays in first draft until I've proofed it. But out for reviews is the next status here. This is where I'm sending it to someone like, a team member, a writer that I've hired, or my virtual assistant, or, one of my intern. We have an intern here now. And this is where you're sending it out to someone else to look over. Now, I can't even tell you how many blog posts I've sent to my mom to look over. She's incredible at grammar, checks every comma that I missed. It doesn't have to mean that you have a team in order to find someone to review for you. So the next one here is design phase. So if you've followed me for a little while, you know that I like to write first and design second. When you start with design first, your mind is already thinking about that visual aesthetic. And a lot of times what happens is when we have the visual done, it's so easy just to write a caption with it that says, check out this picture, or happy Valentine's Day, or whatever, right? And we're not actually putting out a message that's meaningful. So by writing first, we're forcing ourselves to really pay attention to, what do the words say? Do they communicate what I need to communicate? And really getting that step down pat before we worry about what picture is going to go with this, or what graphic's going to go with this, right? The next one is scheduled. So I love pre-scheduling posts and emails, and even blog posts I can pre-schedule on my website. So so that I'm not having to wake up every morning going, what do I have going out today? What do I need to pay attention to? I sit and batch it all at one time, and then it's on autopilot. Unless a major event happens, like a pandemic or something crazy where I need to go back and recheck some of that content for relevancy, it's most likely pre-scheduled and it's on a rhythm already for me. So then the next one is sent. Has that email already been sent out? Has that blog post been posted? Has that social media post already been posted to your profile? The next one is killed. So if that post, I might have done this strategy or this planning stage a month ago. And when I sit down to write it, I'm like, you know what, that just doesn't fit anymore, or I have a better idea that I can replace it with. So sometimes the status is just, let's just mark that one off and we don't have to use it, right? Okay, so the last column here, column J, in the spreadsheet is about attachments. So it is pretty often that we will, include a link to a landing page on my website, or even an outside source, something so that you can, as a reader, go and read more or learn more or download the freebie or whatever the case is, right? So is there a link? Is there an image? Is there a specific video that needs to be included here? If so, go ahead and pop that into this column, because that's just one less thing that you have to sit down and do whenever you're writing content. You don't have to go searching for that file in Dropbox or that specific image that you wanted. You can put a link to it right here, and then you just know it's ready for you when you sit down to write it. Okay, so that's how you can use our template as a tracker. Now, here's here's how I like to approach this. Let me see if I can figure out how I want to explain this. I like to start largest to smallest. So in content creation, I've narrowed down three main areas that you're going to be focused on: newsletters, which is email marketing, blogs, and social media. Now, these three different areas should interconnect a bit. You should be sharing a similar message and a similar timing in these areas. You don't want to be running a sale over in your emails and then never talk about it on your social media, right? So the going statistic is that a buyer needs to see something 5 times or more before they decide to hit purchase. So this is where I like to show up in all of these different areas multiple times so that when they are ready to buy, I'm right there for them. I've told them about my thing that I'm doing enough times, right? So, I like to start with the longest form content first. It's pretty likely that my newsletters, for me, my Sunday emails that I send out are my longest form content. So I start with concepting out and planning out my email marketing first. Then, which you'll see, I put it in this order in your template. So the first sheet here is newsletters. Then I go into blogs because I do 4 emails every month, but I only do 1 blog post, but I want them to be related, right? So the topics we were playing with here in the template was about selling more cakes if you own a bakery, right? So we're talking about maybe COVID or pushing delivery. We're putting effort into like respecting their time, talking about how ordering a cake is really easy. So maybe on the blog, this one that we're going to do, maybe the topic here is that we're going to share a story of a delivery, right? Because we're talking about how easy is it to order something or to send a gift to someone, to really get that delivery sent to them, maybe if you live out of town. So on the blog, I like to get a little bit more personal. And this would be a great place to say, hey, so-and-so from out of town called us. They wanted to send cookies to their family, and they're sad that they haven't seen them in a while because of COVID. So here's, their story. They were so excited whenever we delivered this to their door. They called us later to thank us again, whatever the case is. This is a little bit shorter form content than the newsletters, right? Okay, so then actually the shortest form of content you're going to write is social media, because we all know how short everyone's attention span is on social media. So even though you'll see me share posts that are a couple paragraphs long, we like to mix those up with the very short ones as well, because I know that everyone's time is very limited. Also, what I think through, when am I scrolling social media? I'm scrolling social media like when I'm waiting at the doctor's office, or maybe when I am cooking dinner before the oven timer goes off, or at night when I'm trying to wind down, or I'm in between phone calls or appointments. So you really only have a little bit of my attention in order to do this well. So that's how I would approach this, from long form content down to short form content. And then by doing that, you're saying, oh, well, I have a newsletter going out on this date. What are we talking about there? Can I make a connection on my blog and on my social media so that everything really ties together? So right here in one template, you can see all of those things and how they will work together. So you're really getting an overview of how your customer base is going to perceive this content when it comes out. So I like to work largest to smallest, not in frequency, but in long form content. Okay. I'm going to turn off my screen share here. We're going to talk a little bit about just some basic takeaways. So I don't want this to be stressful, even though it may be overwhelming. I understand that everyone is going to have their own way of doing things. I am asked all the time to show mine. This is mine. I am a little bit detail oriented, which I think makes me a great designer, but sometimes can be overwhelming whenever I'm trying to show my process, because my process can be very detailed. So if that feels overwhelming for you, feel free to delete columns, hide columns, add new columns, whatever you want to do with this template once you get it downloaded, because it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it, right? I'm coaching a photographer right now who actually added a column to her tracking spreadsheet for Enneagram numbers. She really wanted to dive into writing posts that spoke to specific Enneagram numbers. And so she added that column to her spreadsheet. And now she gets really excited thinking about, well, this person, you know, would receive content in this way. So I'm going to write it that way to appeal to them. And I thought that that was such a genius idea. And it was an idea she got out of the group from one of our guest speakers. So if you haven't seen that guest speaker, Jamie was amazing. You should scroll back and find her video for sure. So maybe, you know, one of your goals is, or one of your things that you like to do is something different, right? How do you like to appeal to people? Maybe it's the love languages. Maybe it's this one's going to use a lot of emojis, or it's going to be really fun, and this other one's not, you know. So however it resonates with you, whatever wording needs to go into the template for you to use it, feel free to adapt it to your preferences and your lifestyle. I just always encourage people to try what's there first, because I saw a quote the other day that said, limit your always and your nevers. And I got really excited about this because it's really easy just to say, well, that's not going to work for me. That's not going to resonate with me. But I really love to encourage people, just try it on first and see if it worked for you or not. Okay. So you can make this yours and customize it however you like. I don't have a lot of training for you today. This is really simple. Today was a really simple day. So instead of, you know, you having to listen to me go on and on about all the things, I'm gonna wrap up here so that if you are watching these videos, this is one of the short and sweet ones that you get to see. I'm just frozen over here on Facebook. No worries. Maybe I'm not frozen for everybody though. Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with sharing on Zoom because there's a delay. So I can't actually see real-time comments and things, but it does allow me to flip-flop back and forth between you seeing me and you seeing my screen. So that's where we're at with technology today. If you got the video in the beginning. So tomorrow, I'm really excited. This is a topic that I get really pumped up about. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to use your authentic voice in marketing. I'm going to give some writing tips. I'm going to give some tips about how to kind of dig deep and find yourself, and that resonates with your audience. We're going to talk a little bit about ideal audience. It's going to be a really exciting day because I know that if you've mastered this planning stage, or you're figuring out this planning stage, your next step is going to be, okay, now I need to sit down and write the content. How do I actually do that? How do I actually write the content that I need to write? Huh? Anybody with me? I bet that's going to be what you're thinking. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about diving into the writing, diving into how to be authentic. And then I'm going to actually introduce you to one of my favorite long form versions of writing methods. Guys, it has been a really long day. Okay, I'm going to teach you one of my favorite writing methods by Mr. Ray Edwards. I read his book maybe about a year ago, and there was one method in particular that he talked about that resonated with me like crazy, and I have used it over and over again. And once I learned it, I actually started realizing that so many things on the internet are written this way, and there's a reason for it, because it's crazy effective in getting sales and buyers at the end of the day, which is ultimately what we're in business for. I know everyone really likes to stray away from that term sales, but it is really important to master that side of what you do, because ultimately you're here to keep the lights on, right? Or to, even if you're frugal with your smart hours laundry, to do your laundry and to do the things that you need to keep your family fed. So don't be scared of that word. And I'm going to teach you a couple of methods so that you can show up well and authentic and still get your message across that actually will translate to sales at the end of the day. So it's one of my favorite methods of writing, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. So tomorrow, all about finding your authentic voice in marketing, and then my favorite method of writing, the pastor method. I am super excited for everyone who has joined the challenge so far, because I know that this is going to be awesome for you and your business. Even if you are a super planner right now, it's sometimes really awesome to get a glimpse into how someone else does things. I started out using spreadsheets just like the template that I built for you. And we have kind of evolved from there, and we use Airtable a lot. Airtable is a fantastic tool if you haven't checked it out. And then we use Asana for project management. And it is an incredible tool as well. So maybe even if spreadsheets just aren't your thing, if that feels gross to you, there may be another way of doing it. I honestly don't care if you get out a piece of paper and write it down the first couple times. If that works for you, I just want you to find a planning stage that does work. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for today. Not a long video today. Woohoo, I'm off early. And definitely, if you haven't caught all the rest of the Content Calendar Challenge videos, scroll back in the group because they're all there for you. So I'm signing off, and I will see you guys tomorrow.